He's still going, he's still mad.
At first, it looked like a fight that went too far. Offset was shot and Lil Tjay was arrested, but it's the details in the footage that have people talking.
I want to know, is it going to be attempted? Is it going to be assault with a deadly weapon or attempted?
What if that shooting wasn't just a moment of chaos? With money and past disputes involved, the idea that this was paid for is gaining attention. Here's how it unfolded. The night, Monday, April 6, 2026. It was after 7 p.m. when Offset, born Kiari Kendrell Cephas, one of the 3 men who built Migos from the ground of a shared abandoned house in Lawrenceville, Georgia, was standing near the valet area of the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. He was on his phone. He had been in the casino. Witnesses told TMZ that moments before the shooting, he was in the lobby area greeting fans, shaking hands, taking photos, in good spirits. Nothing in his body language suggested what was seconds away from happening. Then a fight broke out in the valet area.
They just shot a man, gun violence. Here in the casino.
That was bystander footage captured in real time, within seconds of gunfire erupting outside the Seminole Hard Rock. It spread across Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube within minutes. The footage shows chaos, people running, emergency lights, police swarming the valet area, and a scene that, by the time morning came, would be tied to a feud the internet had largely moved past. The Seminole Police Department responded immediately and contained the situation quickly. 2 individuals were detained. Casino operations continued without disruption. There was no ongoing threat to the public.
He's still going, he's still mad. They got this guy detained.
Offset was shot. He was transported by ambulance to Memorial Regional Hospital in Hollywood, Florida. The injury was to his leg, non-life-threatening. His team confirmed he was stable and being closely monitored. By the next afternoon, photos had surfaced of him standing outside the hospital in a hospital gown, smoking a cigarette, alive, alert, and upright. Within hours of the footage going viral, social media had already named the second person at the scene.
Guys, we've got crazy news. They're saying Offset got shot. And they're saying he got shot by Lil Tjay.
Lil Tjay, Tioni Jaden Merritt, 24 years old, from the South Bronx. The same man who 3 years earlier had been airlifted to a hospital with 7 gunshot wounds after a robbery attempt in a New Jersey parking lot. The same man who recorded his first hit in 2017 right after walking out of juvenile detention. He was one of the 2 people detained at the Seminole Hard Rock Valet area.
Quavo Huncho with the prayer hands emoji. They done popped Offset. Offset shot near Florida casino.
Quavo, the surviving member of the Migos triangle that also included Takeoff, who was killed in a Houston parking lot in November 2022, posted a prayer hands emoji on his Instagram story. No words, just the emoji. That image carried more weight than a paragraph would have, given everything Quavo had already been through. Early reports, including from DJ Academics, initially stated that both Offset and Lil Tjay had been shot. That was wrong. Lil Tjay was not shot. He was arrested at the scene by Seminole police and booked into the Broward County Main Jail late on the night of April 6, 2026, on a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct, a fray, under Florida Statute 870-01. Meaning the police confirmed he participated in a physical fight. He also received a separate traffic charge for operating a vehicle without a valid driver's license. Bond was set at $500 for the affray and $2,500 for the traffic charge. He was out before morning. The first credible street-level account of what happened came from Seti Nash, a social media personality known for being early and loud on hip-hop news.
Supposedly, there's a video capturing this whole entire thing. Offset whooped that man, beat him badly, knocked him off his rocker, had him on the ground. Lil Tjay, bow, in the cheeks like y'all favorite prono. That's what happened.
Nash went on Instagram Live within hours of the footage surfacing.
Why would you handle the other person like that? Y'all know the other person that's in the video was Lil Tjay.
Nash's read of the footage was this. The person police were handling on the ground was Lil Tjay, not Offset. And the way police were handling him, the way they were restraining him and placing him in the back of a squad car, was because, Nash argued, he was the shooter. That claim has not been confirmed by police. But what Nash's account did, along with dozens of other social media voices that night, was pour gasoline on a story that had been sitting dormant for over a year. A story about money, about pride, and about what happens when one person stops asking politely for what they're owed. Who they are. Tioni Jaden Merritt, Lil Tjay, was born on April 30th, 2001 in the South Bronx. He grew up cycling through juvenile trouble early, arrested on a school day warrant in middle school, locked up for 2 days, then at 15, convicted of robbery, and sentenced to nearly a full year in a youth detention center. The juvenile records are sealed. What is public is what he did inside, wrote lyrics every single day, performed for other inmates, and walked out in September 2017 with one plan: music. He recorded Resume within weeks of release. He put it on SoundCloud. Within a year, it had 13.7 million streams and 8.5 million YouTube views. Labels called. He signed with Columbia Records at 17, on strict probation terms that meant any new legal issue could send him back for 3 to 5 years for a 7-figure advance. His debut album, True to Myself, debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200 in 2019. Pop Out with Polo G peaked at number 11 on the Hot 100. Calling My Phone hit number 3, his career high. By 20 years old, he had more platinum singles than most artists collect across an entire decade. Then, June 22nd, 2022, Edgewater, New Jersey, a shopping plaza parking lot. Muhammad Kanadi approached the red Dodge Durango Lil Tjay was sitting in, pulled a gun, and a shootout erupted. Tjay was struck 7 times, neck, arm, 5 shots to the torso, 1 bullet an inch from his heart. Airlifted to Hackensack University Medical Center. 5 days in a medically induced coma. Woke up angry, not afraid. His first statement, 7 shots, it was tough. Most people don't survive it, but I'm here for a reason. He named his next album 222, the exact time his helicopter left the scene. Kiari Kendrell Cephas, Offset, was born December 14, 1991, in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He formed Migos in 2008 with his cousin Quavo and Quavo's nephew Takeoff, developing a triplet flow and trap sound out of a shared abandoned house in the Atlanta suburbs. Their 2013 single, Versace, went viral. Drake remixed it. The Versace brand played it at Milan Fashion Week, and the cadence they built became the most imitated sound in hip-hop for a decade. Bad and Bougie went to number 1 in 2017. Culture debuted atop the Billboard 200. Migos became one of the dominant forces in American music. He married Cardi B in 2017. They had 3 children. In November 2022, Takeoff was shot and killed in Houston. The group fractured. By October 2025, Offset was carrying over $2.3 million in unpaid federal and Georgia state tax liens. His divorce from Cardi B stalled over those debts. She was publicly clear she would not cover them. He paid the largest lien in December 2025, but a different debt had already reached the internet, one that was $10,000, and one that, for reasons that will never fully make sense, he had decided he was not going to pay back. Searches across hip-hop media archives from 2018 through 2024 show 0 documented public interaction between Lil Tjay and Offset before January 2025. The only thing that brought their names together was one night at a casino, a phone with no one answering, and one man desperate enough to ask a stranger for help. The $10,000 debt. On January 8th, 2025, Lil Tjay went live on Twitch. A fan asked him why he had been dissing Offset. He answered without hesitation, the tone of someone who has been holding a story long enough that telling it requires no effort at all.
And then it rang off to me. Do y'all remember about a year ago?
He said he saw Offset at a casino some years ago, exact date and location never specified, and Offset was popped, panicking, begging strangers for Cash App transfers because no one in his phone was picking up.
He was panicking, nigga, he was asking random people for Cash Apps. He was broke. I don't know what happened.
One of the most recognizable faces in hip-hop, a man whose voice is on a Diamond-certified #1 single, was in a casino, phone in hand, asking people who didn't know his name to send him money, because everyone who did know his name had stopped picking up. Tjay said he loaned Offset $5,000 on the spot. Offset took it and went directly back to the tables. Offset then borrowed roughly $3,000 more from other people in the casino, including $1,000 from a woman neither of them knew. Later, Tjay extended another $5,000, bringing his personal total to $10,000. He estimated roughly $13,000 changed hands in loans that single night, every dollar of it going straight back onto the casino floor.
Somebody was answering his phone call, he popped, trying to run up, chasing. Must got a gambling addiction.
Chasing is the operative word. Chasing losses is what happens when rational thought has been replaced by the certainty that the next hand, the next roll, is going to give it all back. It is the engine of every gambling addiction that has ever consumed someone who had every reason to stop. And Lil Tjay had watched Offset hit that wall and keep going through it with borrowed money. Offset's response to all of this was to dismiss the $10,000 as lunch money and challenge Tjay to a fight. He never confirmed the debt. He never repaid it. The stream went viral immediately. Every major platform carried it, and the narrative that hardened around it, Offset broke, Offset gambling, Offset ducking a debt, stuck the way stories stick when they rhyme too perfectly with what people were already whispering. Shortly before the stream, private DMs between them had already leaked publicly. Lil Tjay opened the exchange with a physical threat. NGL Ema smack the whole out you. Offset's response did not address the money. It went somewhere more specific. Gotta be the wrong ninja, you texting boy, I'll smoke you. You barely lived already. Who teeth you think you talking to? You barely lived already. A direct reference to Lil Tjay being shot 7 times in 2022. Offset used the most loaded thing available in that conversation and pointed it at the most loaded thing in TJ's life. That is the kind of line that does not get filed away. It gets carried. Lil Tjay replied, "Nah, never that, lil bro, I just want my 10. Trying to de-escalate, bringing it back to the fact he was owed money and he wanted it. Offset's final reply was, "Say dat," an acknowledgement that committed to nothing. And separately, according to DJ Academics referencing an unreleased interview, Offset allegedly told Tjay to get it back in blood when pressed for repayment. That claim has circulated widely, but no screenshot of it has been publicly verified. What is verified is that after the DMs went public, the beef went fully public, and in March 2025, Offset responded to it publicly, not with money, but with a challenge: the fight. In March 2025, Lil Tjay posted to Instagram flaunting jewelry with a caption that referenced never being broke like Set and making smoke over lunch money. Offset saw it and replied directly in the comments. On March 11th, 2025, he wrote, "At Lil J, let's hit on live, I'll fly to you, this ain't gone. Stop your fell off allegations. Meet me in New York and give me a one on live." A one-on-one live streamed fight in New York City to settle whatever had built between them. He dismissed the $10,000 as lunch money. He denied being broke or having fell off. What he did not do was pay anything back. Lil Tjay did not accept. The fight never happened. The debt was never publicly resolved. The beef went quiet for over a year. Then came April 6th, 2026. The Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, the same type of venue where the story started. Both men in the same valet area on the same Monday night. The official police account: a fight broke out, escalated into gunfire. 1 person was shot, 2 were detained. The social media account, driven primarily by Seti Nash and echoed across dozens of channels within hours, was far more specific. According to this account, the fight was not even.
Offset whooped that man, beat him badly, knocked him off his rocker, had him on the ground.
Offset won it cleanly, landing clean shots and putting Lil Tjay on the ground. Then he turned his back and walked away from a fight he had already won.
Lil Tjay got his ass kicked. We talking high Yukins, right, left, hook, jump, all that stuff.
And then, per this account, a gun came out after Offset had already walked away. If accurate, this is a legal problem. Shooting a man who has turned his back and walked away from a fight is not self-defense under Florida law. Self-defense requires an ongoing active threat. A man walking away does not meet that standard.
It's not self-defense when you're walking away. It would have been self-defense had he popped him right when he was whooping him.
But the key word in all of this remains alleged. Lil Tjay was charged with disorderly conduct for the fight, nothing else. No firearm charge has been filed. The Seminole Police Department has not publicly named him as the shooter. The internet decided the story before the police finished processing anyone at the scene.
Lil Tjay just shot Offset, man. Now, a lot of us is about to take to social media and say, "Oh my God, how could he do this?"
He told Lil Tjay to get it back in blood, and Lil Tjay did exactly what he said.
The moral framing on social media locked in before midnight. Offset took money he never returned, escalated a simple debt into a threat on a man's life, and allegedly told that man to come collect in blood. Whether or not Lil Tjay fired the shot, the internet had already assigned the deeper responsibility and pointed every arrow back at the man who said those 4 words to someone who had already survived being shot 7 times. Offset's gambling and finances. Offset's gambling is not a rumor that started with Lil Tjay's stream. It is a documented pattern. years of casino sightings, eyewitness accounts, and public financial strain that had been building long before January 2025. The first clearly documented incident came on February 17, 2024, at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, the exact venue where he would be shot 2 years later. Days after a Valentine's Day dinner with estranged wife Cardi B, Offset was photographed gambling alone at a card table for 2 to 3 hours. Eyewitnesses reported bets averaging $2,500 to $2,000 per hand, visible frustration, and several $1,000s lost in one session. Additional clips surfaced from Las Vegas, Bellagio craps tables, $5,000 per roll. Social media began compiling Offset casino bender compilations. The pattern was already visible to anyone paying attention. Lil Tjay's Twitch stream gave it a first-person account, someone who had been present for the worst version of it, the chasing night with borrowed money and strangers' Cash App transfers. The specificity of that account made everything that had been rumored feel confirmed. It described not someone who gambles a lot, but someone for whom the compulsion had overridden everything else. Pride, financial logic, basic awareness of what it looks like to be famous, and publicly broke in a casino. On January 13, 2026, 3 months before the shooting, DJ Academics issued a direct public warning during a live stream. Offset needed rehabilitation for his gambling addiction. It had become degenerative, and it was actively pulling him into compromising situations that could ruin his career. That warning came and went. He kept going to the casinos. The financial record behind it is documented. By late 2025, Offset's combined unpaid tax liabilities, a $1.575 million IRS lien filed in April 2024, a second federal lien of $486,000 filed in October 2025, and a Georgia state debt that had grown from $168,000 to approximately $778,000, totaled over $2.3 million. The divorce from Cardi B stalled over those debts. She made clear publicly she would not cover them. He paid the largest federal lien in December 2025. The Georgia state debt remained outstanding as of April 2026. Offset's net worth is estimated at approximately $40 million. Lil Tjay's is estimated at $6 million. On paper, Offset is worth 7 times more than the man he allegedly owed $10,000. And yet Offset was the one begging strangers for Cash App transfers inside a casino. That gap between what a person appears to have and what they actually hold in their hands is the gap this entire story lives inside. Net worth counts catalogs, equity, and real estate. It does not count what a compulsion spends on a given Monday night in a casino. What makes the gambling the central thread of this story is not just that it explains the loan from Lil Tjay, it explains the location. The Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida appears again and again in the documented record of Offset's casino activity. The 2024 sighting, Jay's account, and now the shooting. He kept going back to the same place despite every consequence available to him. The place he returned to most is where the consequences finally arrived in the most physical form possible. The aftermath. The morning after the shooting, 2 versions of the story were running simultaneously, and they were not compatible with each other. The official version, Offset was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries and was stable. Lil Tjay had been charged with a misdemeanor, disorderly conduct for participating in a fight, and had already bonded out. The Seminole Police Department investigation was active. No one had been charged with the shooting. The internet's version, Lil Tjay shot Offset in the leg because Offset owed him $10,000, had told him to get it back in blood, had beaten him up in a valet area, and had walked away from the confrontation, at which point Lil Tjay pulled a weapon and made good on every threat that had been building since January 2025. The distance between those 2 versions is where Lil Tjay's legal team stepped in. Attorney Dawn M. Florio issued a statement on April 7, 2026, shared via Instagram, and reported across every major outlet within hours of its release. It read, in full, "We are issuing this release in regards to false rumors that Lil Tjay was involved in a shooting which occurred at the valet area of the Seminole Hard Rock Hollywood, which resulted in non-life-threatening injuries to Offset, formerly a member of Migos. Lil Tjay has not been shot, nor has Lil Tjay been charged with any shooting. Any reporting to the contrary is false. We encourage people to consult trusted news sources and to verify the accuracy of any reporting before reflexively sharing or repeating baseless rumors." That statement covered every piece of misinformation that had been circulating. the claim that Lil Tjay was shot, the claim that he had been charged with the shooting, and the broader implication that the case against him was more serious than a misdemeanor fight charge. It was a legal document masquerading as a press release, specifically designed to insert itself into a news cycle that had already made up its mind.
Lil Tjay did not get They said they got 2 detained right now. Offset rep says he's stable and being closely monitored at a hospital, being in a Florida casino. 2 suspects detained.
CBS Miami, USA Today, NBC News, Page 6, and multiple South Florida local outlets all confirmed the same basic package within hours. Offset was shot in the leg, hospitalized and stable. Lil Tjay was charged with disorderly conduct and had bonded out. No one had been charged with the shooting. The most memorable visual from the aftermath did not come from the valet area footage. It came from the hospital parking lot on April 7th, when TMZ published photos of Offset outside Memorial Regional Hospital in his hospital gown, smoking a cigarette, alert, upright, outside, smoking. It was the kind of image that communicates more than any statement. I was shot last night, and I am standing here today doing exactly this. The reactions from the hip-hop community were measured and, for the most part, quiet. Quavo posted prayer hands on his Instagram story. No words, just the emoji. The weight of that gesture, from a man who had stood in a bowling alley parking lot when his other cousin was murdered, was impossible to read as anything other than genuine. Quavo and Offset had been complicated since Takeoff's death, but complicated does not mean cold. And a prayer hands emoji from Quavo, in this context, meant something specific about what he understood the stakes to be. 6699 drove to the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, the exact scene of the shooting, and documented himself there on Instagram stories with the caption, "LOL, I'm clout chasing right now." He played Lil Tjay's music in the background clips. It was the 6699 signature move, absurd, deliberately provocative, and designed to generate exactly the kind of reactions it got. Equal parts spectacle and irrelevance. No other major artists posted publicly. No Drake, no Future, no Bobby Shmurda. The hip-hop community, largely, went quiet. The story was too raw, the investigation too active, and the facts too unclear for anyone with something to lose to stake out a position. The Seminole Police Department's investigation remained active as of April 7, 2026. Authorities asked anyone with information to contact them at 954-967-5100 or Broward County Crime Stoppers at 954-493-8477. A second person detained at the scene had been released without charges. No shooter had been publicly named or charged with a firearm offense. The only charge filed against anyone who was confirmed present at the fight was the disorderly conduct misdemeanor against Lil Tjay. For that charge, a first-degree misdemeanor under Florida Statute 870.01, the maximum penalty is 1 year in jail, a fine, and possible probation. Outcomes for this level of charge, particularly for first-time misdemeanor cases, often resolved through pleas, fines, or diversion programs. Nothing about the charges filed suggests Lil Tjay is facing serious jail time, unless additional charges are added as the investigation progresses. Lil Tjay's documented legal history, multiple gun possession charges in New York in 2023, the prop gun arrest on his birthday in 2024, and now this, does not improve the optics of being arrested at the scene of a shooting. But optics and criminal liability are different things. One is a narrative. The other is what a prosecutor can prove in a courtroom. As of April 7th, 2026, what can be stated as confirmed fact is this. Offset was shot in the leg outside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida on April 6th, 2026. He is alive and recovering. Lil Tjay was present, participated in a fight, was arrested on a misdemeanor, and has denied any involvement in the shooting through his attorney. The shooter has not been charged publicly. The investigation is ongoing. What lives between those facts, what the internet has built in the space between the police report and the social media accounts, is the story everyone has already decided they believe. A story about a $10,000 loan made in a casino to a man who was on the ground asking strangers for money. A loan that was never repaid. A threat that allegedly said to come, get it back in blood. A valet area confrontation over a year later in the same kind of casino where the same 2 men ended up in the same space at the same moment. Enjoying the content? Make sure to check out the suggested videos by clicking the cards on your screen.